Hello and welcome to Acumatica's Bill of Materials Snapshot by Nims and Associates. Our agenda today will be to look at the Bill of Materials system in Acumatica. Bill of Materials is the backbone of the manufacturing process of Acumatica. Bill of Materials control how finished goods are built, raw materials that go into finished goods or sub-assemblies, and any additional costs that you might apply to a finished good, such as labor or overhead. Our agenda is going to focus on bill of material integrations, setup and configuration of work centers in bill of materials, and then setup and configuration of raw materials on bill of materials. The bill of materials system is the backbone of the Acumatica manufacturing system. Bills of materials are where the recipes for finished goods and sub-assemblies are maintained. Bill of material integrates with many areas in Acumatica to create a complete production environment. Bill of material integrates with purchasing and purchase orders. Purchase orders can be spawned directly from bill of materials for outside processing. Bill of material integrates with the Acumatica MRP and sales forecasting system to drive purchasing decisions. MRP and sales order integrate with the bill of materials system. Production orders for bill of materials can be spawned directly from sales orders, effectively making Acumatica a make-to-order production system. Bill of materials integrate with the production management system. Once a bill of material has been attached to a production order, the cost for materials, the cost for labor, cost for overhead and burden can be driven through the production management process. Advanced scheduling integrates with bill of material. Work centers can be scheduled in Acumatica, giving you a graphical interface and a graphical way of looking at the capacity and planning for individual work centers. Engineering change order and request integrates with the bill of material. Changes to bill of materials and revisions can be tracked using the engineering change order and request system. The basic BOM structure for Acumatica is that work centers are applied to bill of materials. Raw materials are associated with work centers. So in our example, work center 10 could have its own set of raw materials associated with it, and work center 20 can have its own set of raw materials associated with it as well. So the BOM structure in Acumatica not only tells you what goes into a finished good, but it also tells you how to make that finished good. Work centers can determine the employee labor cost. Work centers can determine what shifts, what schedule work centers could follow. And they can also determine what burden or overhead can be applied to work centers in the cost for a finished good. Let's take a look at work centers. Work centers are located in the bill of materials profiles. Work centers is where work happens. There must be at least one work center per bill of material. One is the minimum. We look at a work center. We can see that the work center sets up various defaults for us. So for example, $20 per hour is going to be the default labor cost. The basis for capacity, or capacity planning and scheduling, in this case will be crew size, but it could be machines as well. Defaults are set up for the establishment of work centers on bill of materials. So that includes whether or not we're going to be back flushing materials and labor, whether or not it's the work center as a control point, in other words, where we finish product, and whether or not the work center is going to be an outside process work center. Shifts allow the system to know when work can be performed at a work center. This is vital to the Acumatica scheduling and system. If there is overhead, you can apply an overhead code. And that overhead code can determine if there's going to be labor burden or overhead applied to work centers as they relate to bill of materials. Machines can also be assigned to work centers. You can find out what bill of materials this work center is used in. And if you're going to be substituting work centers under certain conditions, you can define that on the work center as well. Materials and outside processing. Materials get applied to the bill of material directly. You'll notice on this bill of material, there's a ID that recognizes and identifies the bill of material. There's an inventory item. That's the finished good that is going to be created. A default warehouse for the finished good. This can be changed at the point that production is created. Hold, when the bill of materials in the process of being created, generally it's a good idea to keep it on hold so it doesn't get used in production. On the bill of material, you can see that we've got multiple operations. These operations tell the system how something is going to get built. So for example, work is going to be performed at work center 10. We could optionally set up the amount of time that's going to take to prepare that work center for work. So we could say 5 hours. The run units is how many units can be built in a certain unit of time. The amount of time is here, and the amount of time is expressed in hours. Machine units and machine time is the number of units per machine that can be built generally per hour. The setup time and run time and machine time is used for scheduling. The accumulation of all the setup time, runtime, and machine time over the 3 work centers pictured here will determine the bill of material schedule. In the grid below, raw materials are set up. Raw materials are the cost of items that are going to be included in production. So for the cutting work center, we're going to be using this inventory item. 1 quantity per finished good. The unit cost is going to be $30. That $30 comes in from the inventory system. It's going to be a planned cost, therefore, of $30. 1 unit times 30 is going to be a total planned cost of 30. And then the material type. Now, the material type is very interesting. There's multiple material types. So regular just means that the inventory is going to be coming out of your inventory. Subcontract means that we're probably going to be buying the raw material. So when it's subcontracted, Acumatica has the ability to actually spawn purchase orders automatically. But subcontract could mean also, in addition, a couple of cool little features here. So in this case, subcontract, the item is going to be purchased. But I could say that the item is going to be vendor supplied or shipped to a vendor as an outside process. Vendor supplied means that you can track the inventory item on the bill of material, but it won't affect our inventory. It only affects the vendor's inventory. So vendor supplied is a very cool feature for Acumatica to have. You can see that this item here belongs to this work center up here. When work is performed at this work center, it's expecting that this inventory item is going to be consumed at that work center. As we kind of go through the structure of the bill of material, you'll see at the welding work center, we're going to be using this inventory item. Now, by the way, inventory items can be stocking or non-stocking parts. If an item is designated as an outside process item, you can tell it what vendor you're going to get it from. And this is how the system is going to know how to spawn a purchase order from the bill of material. If we go down to another work center, to the WC10, we can see that this work center has multiple inventory items being consumed at that work center. The basic strategy for Acumatica is that work gets performed at a work center. These inventory items are consumed. Work gets performed at a work center. These inventory items are consumed. Work gets performed at a work center, and these inventory items get consumed. When you tell Acumatica that the last work center on a production order is complete, Acumatica knows that's the last work center and will complete the production order to finished goods inventory. Other features in bill of material. For bill of materials, you have notes. And then you also have notes on each work center and on each item. You have files, and you can have file attachments on each work center and on each item. It's a great way of documenting bill of materials. In addition to that, Acumatica can track revision levels on bill of materials. So this is BOM 00015, revision A. I can have a revision B, C, revision 1, 2, 100, and I can say which revision is active and which is not. And Acumatica actually has the ability to use these effectivity dates to determine what bill of materials should be used naturally. Our next snapshot will be how to use the bill of materials on production orders. If you like this snapshot, be sure to like, share, and subscribe to our YouTube channel. Thank you.